Hello everyone, in this video we are going to talk about hyperemesis gravidarum. This is a very common and very important topic for pregnancy because nausea and vomiting is very common in pregnancy. About 50% women face this situation of nausea and vomiting, and it starts at 5 to 6 weeks of the pregnancy. So there is a very clinical line between what is called nausea and vomiting, what is called hyperemesis. Nausea vomiting is considered as a normal in pregnancy in most of the societies, but hyperemesis gravidarum is not. So there is some line how we consider a nausea vomiting into hyperemesis. So there are clear cut definitions and other situations are there which makes simple nausea vomiting into hyperemesis. For example, the nausea and vomiting are so severe that the patient is unable to maintain adequate hydration and nutrition. That would be called as a hyperemesis gravidarum. There will be a weight loss due to less nutrition, muscle wasting due to nutrition. Because of continuous vomiting, it is losing KCl, which is the from the stomach. So there will be ketonuria, dehydration, metabolic hypochloremic alkalosis, hypokalemia. K is not there, Cl is not there. That's why hypokalemic situation is there. Okay. Now, once these things are there, you need to consider these a hyperemesis gravidarum and not just simple nausea and vomiting. The signs of severity are also described like weight loss more than 10%, liver enzyme is increased, thyroid abnormality is increased, T4 increased, TSH goes down. All these things are considered as a severe hyperemesis gravidarum, and it is very severe disease because it is related to FGR, fetal growth retardation, maternal sodium decrease, that means hyponatremia, that will lead to central pontine myelinosis. Thiamine deficiency also can be there. Vernix encephalopathy can be there. So severe hyperemesis gravidum is not the thing you should take it very easy. So always consider the thing when you see any patient of nausea and vomiting. Ask proper history and see for the symptoms of hyperemesis. How you manage the things? What is the situation? We have no C, we have no calcium. Sorry, we have no potassium, no chloride, no water. What we do? We do. First of all, we do the investigation, then we will give the hydration. What are the investigation we should do? Basic test, this is CBC, USG. Why we want to do a USG? Because the hyperemesis gravidarum is more common in molar pregnancy and multiple pregnancy, so we need to confirm that there is any cause of this particular hyperemesis or not. Thyroid function test should be there, LFT should be there, urine routine microscope and ketonuria should be examined. Prolactin also be done. Serum electrolytes should must be done, like so serum sodium, serum potassium, calcium, chlorine, all should be done. What is the management? As I told you before, IV hydration, intravenous hydration, and admission in the hospital. That is the mainstay of treatment for hyperemesis gravidarum. What you do, you give 1 liter of sodium normal saline that contains 0.9%, 0.9 percentage of sodium and chloride. We also add potassium chloride in that, 20 to 40 millimole per kcl, 8 hourly. We give this amount of fluid 8 hourly. Okay. And what we should do, we should avoid dextrose containing fluids, because with this dextrose there will be more ketonuria will be there. Dextrose will decrease the insulin, and decrease insulin will lead to increased lipolysis. Increased lipolysis will lead to increased ketone bodies. That's why we should avoid dextrose if possible. And this is not hard and fast rule that you should not give dextrose in those things. No, it's not like that. You can give if you want. Thiamine also provided orally or IV sometimes. Antiemetic of choice are there: ondansetron, chlorpromazine, domperidone, metoclopramide, promethazine. All these antiemetics considered as a safe in pregnancy. So this is how you manage a case of hyperemesis gravidum. Thank you, friends.